Shouldn't I say this? Shouldn't I say this recording has started?
No, recording in progress.
Okay.
And good morning, Mr. Awichu, and thank you. I would like to thank you for participating in our trauma-informed mental health workshop. And the first question will be, and can you introduce yourself and where you work?
My name is Awichu Akwanya, and I work with United Women of East Africa Support Team, located in San Diego University City Heights area.
Cloud, how many years?
Oh, sorry.
Go ahead.
Yeah, my name's Awichu Akwanya. I work with United Women of East Africa Support Team as a program director. I've been with United Women, I think, since 2015 directly. That's when they employed me. But before, I was just partnering with them when working with another organization called Mental Health America of San Diego County.
Hi, Awichu. I'm going to follow with the question. So just tell me a little bit about where you have lived and how long you have been in the US.
I've lived most of my life in USA in San Diego. I came in San Diego in 2004 as an asylee. I lived in Chula Vista. I worked with YMCA there, and then moved to the county, work with the Mental Health America of San Diego County as a outreach specialist for the immigrants and the refugees, whereby I was teaching mental health first aid and educational topics of depression, stress, anxieties to the immigrants and the refugees community. I did that since 2007 until 2015. When I left, I joined United Women of East Africa Support Team.
Thank you for that. Just a follow-up question. Did you see any change with the community you were helping when you were doing those services?
Definitely, yes. Because as for us, you know that Africans, at the beginning, nobody believes in mental health, and they still up to now, nobody believes in it. They say it's a taboo. When you have mental issue within the community, nobody want to associate with our family. It was quite difficult for me at the beginning, and to compare me, I'm a Christian, and most of the community I was working with, most of them are Muslims. So it took me quite a lot for them to start developing or engaging with them on discussing or talking about mental health. But eventually people started to at least open up. When I started cooking, introduced a cooking class. When this United Women was just a group of women meet and cook. So I started meeting with them. We cook around City Heights area. So eventually then we started looking, and then I brought in some other, I'm like, I have a certificate I teach. It's called Mental Health First Aid. Do you guys want to join? And then, yeah, they're like, okay, I'll give you a certificate. And you have to keep that for about 3 years. Like, okay, we'll do that. So they started coming to me, started teaching them the mental health first aid. And then later on, I introduced another topic. I've started teaching about stress, anxiety, depression, PTSD, all that kind. So it went slowly by slowly, but it wasn't an easy work. And then with that, I started inviting other people. I remember from San Diego State, there was a course, is it a community mental health something? So the student from there, I had a student from Ethiopia. She was a girl, so she started working with me in the community. And then another lady called Amina Muhammad also joined me. So the ladies actually started ladies started involving, and then they started referring me to their kids. They're like, oh, you need to talk to my kids, you need to talk about. So that's how I developed the relationship between the community.
That's really awesome. I know you said you came to the US in the 2000s. Can you tell us if that impacted you in any way coming into the American culture? Did you have to change anything about yourself to kind of fit in?
Well, for sure, that's I didn't change anything of myself to try to fit in the community, because what's my main aim was to kind of to promote my culture or tell them. Actually, when I was coming to the United States, I came as a counselor and promoting culture. So I had to keep my culture on in order to teach other people that this is my culture and this is how we treat ourselves. This is how what we eat, this is what we dress. So most of the time I had to keep my culture on. I never change anything.
Thank you.
Thank you for that. And did migrating to the USA impact you in any way?
What I would say, maybe because family, I had to start my own family, I would say, right in USA. I'm by myself here, all my family are back home. So I had to create that zone building community around myself, and everybody I meet, I try to introduce myself to them, get to know me, and I get to know them. So that's how I develop, but it has no much impact on it in any way.
So Awichu, you said that when you come to the United States, what you trying to promote your culture. So what inspired you to be a social worker?
Well, first and foremost, I don't call myself a social worker. Maybe I call myself a peer support, because a social worker is kind of the person who has the professional, who is educated about it. But me, I've never went to school to become a social worker. The only thing what I do is pretty much kind of like, what should I say? I tend to educate other people about me and my culture and the way we live, what we eat, the way we dress, the way we introduce ourselves. That's pretty much what I try to do. I've never taken it one time to say that I'm a professional of this kind. I've never reached that level. I don't own any kind of certification. So I'm not a social worker. I'm a peer support.
Thank you. Speaking of what you do and kind of how you try to educate and allow the people in our city to get to know you and the way your culture works, you know, like getting them to know who you really are. Do you think that made an impact on the people you work with, such as allow you to be in their lives and kind of help them out?
Yes, I think so, because being open, when they look at me, like they're like, okay, this is Awichu and this is him, and I'm always open whenever everything I do. I tell you that, like, I've come up front. I'm not a social worker, I'm not a counselor, but this is what I know. Through experience, this is what I can tell you. When you do this and do that, you will be better this way. And when you open up and see that you get professional help, you will better this way. So I'm always open now. So because of my openness to the community, people really open up to me and they trust me when I say something, because they believe that that's the life I've lived and I've been that way.
Thank you.
Thank you for answering those questions. And what do you see as the main needs for the East African community?
First and foremost, I think it's the education. We need to educate ourselves, and through educating ourselves and also get those people to be, other people to be like mentor. I myself, I'm not that quite, I wouldn't say educated, but at least I have the knowledge to at least to pass it to others. If we have students who have studied and have qualification, they should come back to our community, try to educate them. Because when they see a person who look like them, and like you come with a story like, you know what, I'm an immigrant myself, but this is what we want to do. This is what we need to do. So when they see you who is an immigrant doing things which other people who are not immigrant doing, they're like, okay, I think I can do that. Oh, I think my son or daughter can do that. So we become a way through better life for them.
Thank you, Awichu. What are the main health concerns, like mental health concerns that in the community, and how can those concerns be met?
First and foremost, take me back to the last question. That we lack professionals in our community, and because we lack professionals in our community, like the community does not trust those other professionals who are out there. And another time, like if a person when you try to explain to them about what mental health is, it's hard for them to believe it. And they say, oh, those are white people's sickness. It's not for us Africans. So that's the kind of thing which I'm thinking that we are lacking in our community. But best of all, if what we need to do is at least try to educate them and get those people who are educated, who are professional from our culture or from our community to come back to the community and try to educate people and sensitize them of what mental illness is, because they will understand them better.
Just a follow-up question with that. How do you think we can make the younger generation or the people who are coming up now kind of tailor to their community and do the work that needs to be done? Because like you said, the East African community doesn't really trust somebody who doesn't look like them, who doesn't speak the same language. So what do you think can be done in order for people who are like us to go into these careers and come back and help their communities?
I'll tell you the same thing I've been telling others. Like, if you think we are lacking something, what are you gonna do about it? Because some of us, we're a little bit educated, and we know that through professional skills, that's the best way we're gonna help our community. So if you think that if you know you are going to college and you see there's something lagging in our community, like if we are lacking counselors, please focus on that. Or tell your friend that, guys, you know what, if we focus on this side, if we happen to get a lot of mental health professionals to go, or a lot of social workers, that will come back to our community and educate our community, and we'll be able to help our community, sensitize them through mental health, or see what the benefit they can get, or what benefit we can gain ourselves. Because coming back to the working with or volunteering with the community-based organization is the best way to show how we can best help our community. Like we have a lot of students who come at United Women of East Africa to volunteer or to create some hours. That's the only way we can. You meet other young ones, like, oh, they will ask you, what are you doing? And what did you study? And why are you doing this? So that's the only way that we will be able to show them and say, yeah, when you study this is how you're gonna be able to come back and help your community. So focus on your education like that.
Thank you.
Thank you, Awichu. And another follow-up question: do you have an advice for any person who are too embarrassed to get help?
Well, first and foremost, my advice normally happens to people of that kind. There's always something they want. You gotta focus on what they want. So to give an example, I have two people I've been working with since, like, I think 2017. And their first and foremost was accommodation. So in order to fight their alcoholism, I had to find a way. What do I do? I have to get them in a place whereby they're comfortable living. So I looked for the problem. The problem was accommodation. When I got them accommodation, I'm like, okay, so what next do we have to do? Okay, now you need to have a job in order to have a stable job and you don't go back to the group. So I did that. I got them a job. After a job, and then like, okay, so now I can try to find a way, how can I reunite you with your family? I did that. So the best thing, first and foremost, to find out what their need is. And if you can fulfill that need, the immediate need, then other thing will come in slowly by slowly. Because we know that mostly that time they feel ashamed to come up or to go to anybody. Well, the way they appear or the way the situation has happened, make it happen in their life. So we just really have to focus on the first needs they have. Then we build from there.
Thank you. And another follow-up question with that. And what role can culture play in this stigma?
Right. First and foremost, I give example from a Christian perspective and a Muslim perspective. I myself, I work a lot with Muslim community. But being at some point, even some people wonder whether I'm a Christian or I'm a Muslim, because I have to try to fit myself in their culture. In other words, when I go, I'll have to greet them, Assalamu alaikum, in order to bring them close to me. You understand? But I know that that's the best thing for me to try to bring them. So when they hear me greeting them in that way, they say, oh, he respects me. So if he's gonna give me food, he will know what kind of food he's gonna give me. So that's that part of culture right there, because religion also is part of our culture, and also the way I dress up. If I know today is Friday and I'm gonna pass by a place, well, maybe a mosque, I'll have my hijab on. So in order I can fit in that area. So that's their culture. I gotta look for that way how I can fit in. So I know I'm going to a Swahili community speaking. I'll reach and say, Jambo, Abarigani. So they will know that I'm trying their culture. I'm trying to reach in their culture. So we always need to promote that, what we think that community, the dignity of that community. That's what we have to. So culture-wise, I think we needed to find a way of protecting that culture first and foremost, and the appearance first, because we know what culture, it's appearance, and then other things follow: language, food, dress, that's coming. So that's the only way we will try to protect our culture.
Totally agree.
Thank you. Awichu,
And do you
go ahead, Absalom.
Do you or your family experience side effects of a trauma or other mental health issue due to the violence in Uganda?
Yes. You kind of break at the last moment. I couldn't catch up some of the words.
Okay, no problem. I will repeat. And do you or your family experience side effects of trauma or other mental health issue due to the violence in Uganda?
Yes, quite a lot. Because of war and everything has been happening on within our East African community, it's always there, but compared to what other people terms it, it's not easy to identify or to preach, because everybody look at each and everybody like, oh, I'm going through the same thing what he's going through. So we don't recognize that or build it up or find a shoulder to cry on when you really need help. And the help itself is not there. But when we come around this side, the first world, you find that there are services out there. And if you need it, there'll always be open hands to offer you the services most of the time. But back home where we come from, everybody experience it some way or some other way.
Thank you, Awichu. Let's go back to culture. Like we all from East African community, so most of our people, they don't go to professional mental health doctors or counselor. So do you think our community, they still are using traditional remedies?
When you say traditional remedy, are you talking about coffee and tea? Or getting together and then talk? Yes, those are still existing. The people, because when you, to me, the way I think what we consider therapy back home is a different kind of thing here. Here, people think that therapy is just to meet with a professional, licensed professional, and talk about it. Whereas sometimes also meeting an elder or a peer who give you positive ways. That's a therapy. So when you meet with your fellow, like with us, we have a kind of games we normally play. So things which take you on the right path, not on the bad side. I'll give, so we have a game we call Ludo. I don't know whether you know it. I think some people call it Ladu. So those are games which are therapeutic. Most of those mind games, they are therapeutic. So when you go and meet with your fellow and communicate, talk, it's better than doing other things which are not quite good for the community. So yes, I would say that the African culture, some people still deserve their culture and they're still doing those some other things which help them develop, yes.
So for that one, what are your thoughts on ongoing therapy? Does it help? Can you give us an example?
Oh, yes, because I remember when I first came out, I was seeing a therapist on PTSD. So at some time, to me, I found it beneficial because I gotta talk about and find the best way how I can heal myself. Through the wording and communication with the therapist, I found some ways of how to live with it. You understand? And I'm a living experience because of everything I've been through, but I still have to stand up. I know some things that I can't do, I can't focus on, but for real, therapy is work.
Thank you for that. I definitely know that it's hard for some people in the East African community to kind of seek help sometimes through therapy. But speaking of therapy and mental health, what are some ways or some methods you've used or we can use to make the older generation understand the importance of mental health?
First and foremost, is going back to what I told you, bring somebody they trust, somebody they recognize. Bring something which you think that when they go through this, it will lead you to that. Me, myself, what I started with was food. I brought food up together. I'm like, okay. And with therapy is joining people together, like the family therapy. That's the easiest part of it. You can like, okay, guys, today, this week, we are gonna go to the park. It's the therapy. But that's me, you brought a family, all family together. You said that from somebody from elementary, college, and high school, and then the mother who stays home, and then the father who works or does driving around. You bring them all together and then you start communicating. That's therapy there. So we just have to find a thing which works for both people, the family, the children, all the community. If we think that, oh, the soccer this time is gonna work, yeah, let's take them all to the soccer. Let's go play soccer. So we look for something which really can bring them all the family together. That's all I can say.
Thank you for that. Just a follow-up question with that. Because you know, a lot of the younger generation now, they mostly were born here or they came here at a young age. And the way that they feel like they can deal with their problems or their emotions might be different from the older generation. So how or what advice would you give to older parents to kind of understand their children and the different needs that they have now?
Well, first and foremost, these are two different cultures. If you get them to understand that these are two different cultures, that will be the first thing. If the parents can understand he lives in a different world and the kids or the youth are also living in different worlds, it will be very easy to marginalize them into the same place. So if the parents say, okay, I don't think this is good, and then the youth also saying, I don't think this is good, find one common thing which you think will bring them together. And then you sit and talk about it. Let everybody decide, okay, what do you want to talk about? What do you want to talk about? And then you bring them together, but meet everybody at their pace, at their level, at their culture. So when you meet, and that's why like you find that at time when you meet a person, each person differently, and then later on you join them together, after finding out what each and everybody is trying to. These things I've been going through them for the last 10 years until I find a common goal which can bring them together, then I can join them. But first and foremost, meet everybody at their own time.
Thank you.
Thank you, Awichu. And do you think people with mental illness can get better? If yes, how? What do you think can help people with mental illness?
Yes, they can get better. And through therapy, yes. Through medication, yes. But you have to be willing to. It's hard to get treatment with mental health when the person is not willing to accept the services. Because I myself, I'm a living example of mental health. I had the worst depression ever. I had a PTSD. I dealt with it, and I'm a living example. That's all I can say. Yes, with mental health, you can get help, and if you are willing to get help, and that's normally what I tell people. If you're willing, anybody with mental health issue, if they are not willing to get help, you won't give them help. I've helped so far 6 people, but they have been able to accept my help. Yes, and yes, anybody with mental health issue, they can get better if they are willing to.
Okay. And do you believe it's important for anyone to be aware of if they know some mental health issue?
Can you repeat the question again, please?
What do you believe is important for anyone to be aware of if they know someone with mental health issue?
First and foremost, you have to gain the trust of that person. If you gain the trust and the person trusts you, yes, then you can be able to tell them or talk to them of what you think will be the better solution for them. And it takes you back. They have to be able to be willing to accept whatever you are telling them. But when they gain your trust and they've seen you going through this, and you give them example, definitely they will.
Okay, thank you, Awichu. Do you see a stigma related to receiving mental health services?
Yes, a lot of them. Because in our community, East African community and the immigrants, they say it's a taboo to talk about it. If you have mental health in your family, they're like, oh, that family, they are crazy people. You don't need to go there. Yes, it's the stigma. Finger pointing. Like, oh, that family, they drink a lot. You don't have to go there. Yeah, that's the stigma already. And finger pointing to a community member, of which me I don't encourage it. And most of the time when I see it happening in my eyes or in my neighborhood, I say, no, you don't have to, but we just have to invite them and see how best we can help each other. And I've been doing that. But still the stigma, we can't deny, it's right there. It's there.
Thank you for that. So our next question is, what is one advice that you can give to the East African community when it comes to mental health, caring for our people, and just one advice that you want to send out there to them?
First and foremost, I think we need to build a trust among ourselves. And then we have to get the people who we want to give services to trust us. Because if they can't trust us, they won't be able to get our services. And for us to be able to give them services, we have to build that trust and be able to see that we can educate them on what we want, the way we want them to be, or the way we want them to live. But first and foremost is the trust among ourselves. If you can trust me, Amina, definitely you'll be able to open up and tell me what you think is best for me. That's the only way. So the trust, we have to build the trust among ourselves.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Awichu. And that's the end of our question today. Thank you for participating.
Thank you, guys. So sorry, I've been up and down. I've been to Arizona, I've been to Minnesota, but every time I was seeing the email, I'm like, what am I going to do? I got in here yesterday at night from Arizona. So it was so taxi for me. I'm like, but I gotta do it. I thought even I would do it over the phone, but I'm glad that I reached here and then been able to connect to a computer. Thank you guys so much, and thank you for a good work. Hope you guys, you inspire more guys to come and become social worker, come counselors. That's what we want to see in our community, guys. Thank you, I appreciate it a lot.
Thank you. Have a great day.
Thank you, guys. Thank you. Have a good day.
Take care.
Bye.